Welcome back to Coos Bay. Over the last 8 episodes, this area has been sticking out like a sore thumb. In this episode, we're finally going to finish this development. We will develop a new suburb centered around a custom church asset, a light industrial area, and a new massive state park. To top it off, we finally bring Ferries to Coos Bay. Thank you so much for 400 subscribers. If you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Also be sure to let me know if you like builds like this or if you prefer redevelopment projects. Let's get started. In this episode, we're going to do something a little bit different from what we normally do. We're going to take this opportunity to fill in some of the gaps in this city that I just really haven't gotten around to. The first area I want to look at is this one over here. When we developed the port, we ran this highway through, we invested all this money in infrastructure, but we left this area completely undeveloped. And I think that was a bit of a mistake. So in this episode, we're going to develop a new suburb here, and we're going to develop a light industrial area right over here. The other area I want to develop up is this one right here. I feel that this is always stuck out a little bit, and I really couldn't find a good way to develop it because you'll see it's very steep. So I couldn't put some of these suburbs up on it without deforming the terrain a lot. That just didn't quite feel right. You know, after thinking about it, I've decided that that's going to give us a great view of town. It's going to turn it into a really desirable place to be. So I think that it makes a lot of sense for a new park. Now I'm ready for us to actually start developing up this area. I'm going to start with our road layout. I'm going to keep the at-grade crossings to a minimum. In fact, my plan is to not have any at-grade crossings in this area. I'm going to bring this road down through and I'll try and connect it up somewhere over here. Not exactly sure how we're going to make that work yet, but we'll kind of go with the flow. We'll figure it out. We are going on a spending spree. So I went and purchased up some of the tiles we're using out here since we have so much money, and now we're going to use some of that money to place down services in this new development. The first service that I want to add to this area is the fire station. So I'm not sure exactly which asset I want, so I'm going to look through them and I'll select one. Okay, so I think the one I want to use here is the Japanese fire station. I think that, oh, it's a really nice fit in this area too. So we'll go ahead and add all of the upgrades. Okay. Oh, I don't know why there isn't car access here, but we'll come back to it. Very concerning. I'm not sure if anybody is aware of that problem, but, well, the next thing that I want to place down is I want to place down the police services. So I'm not sure if I want a station or a headquarters. If you look at the headquarters, yeah, these assets are all really big, and I don't know that I want to take this entire area up. So yeah, these just fit better into a town proper and not into a development like this one. I'm going to use one of the police stations, and the one that I'm going to place is this Japanese one. These assets just seem to fit really nicely into some light industrial builds, so I think that it's a pretty good fit. I'll add the upgrade, and then we'll go through in the detailing section and remove some of these corners that are just overlapping with the road. The next asset I want to place down in this area is some healthcare. I want to place this down in the actual suburb itself, and this Netherlands hospital looks like a pretty good fit. I don't know why it's under the clinics here, but it's got some upgrade paths, so that's really nice for if we decide to increase the density in this area. I'm going to leave it as it is for now. I think it makes a little bit more sense for this context. You'll see what I mean. So now I want to place down an elementary school, and let's see, which one do I want to use? This one is a really nice fit in this block size, so I think we're going to use this one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to use this UK urban primary school. Obviously, this isn't an urban context, but I think that it's just a really nice fit. And it's a really beautiful asset. I've only used it a couple of times, so hopefully you all aren't getting tired of me placing this one. So I'll add all of the upgrades onto it, and I think this will make for a nice school here. I think that it looks pretty good. Okay, I think that'll make a good long-term plan for this block. I won't have to redevelop these services for quite a while. So I think we're pretty good on capacity for all of our services, although we haven't added any garbage management. I wonder... Yeah, this Japanese recycling center will fit really nicely back here. Again, just a great asset for these light industrial builds. I'm going to use Move It to jostle it around a little bit, but that fits pretty nicely into this area, and I think that that's another good centerpiece, another good city service to have a little bit closer to town. Okay, now I'm actually done placing down our service buildings, although this is driving me absolutely insane. I need to use Move It and fix this. I can't stand that. Whoa, okay. That looks much better. Jostle it around a little bit and everything will be connected up properly. Okay, that looks much better. So one other thing that I added in this area that I didn't mention is I added the ferry depot. This is going to give us some additional modes of transit in the area, so having these ferries is going to be really nice. So now I'm ready to start zoning in our industrial development. I'm going to try and splice together buildings, use some of the buildings from the supply chains DLC, just generally try and make this area a little bit more industrially active. Some of these farms over here were going bankrupt, so one of the things we can do is try and increase the amount of farm goods production in an area like this. So I will try to use those assets if I can. Okay, now I'm done with the basic layout here, so I'm going to, in an effort to save a little bit of time, just spray down our stain decals here. I find that even just a quick spray can really help your build feel more industrial. These are the assets from Sully. They're just magnificent stain decals. So, yeah, huge fan of them. I think it just makes an industrial area feel that much more industrial. So the other thing I'm going to look out for is none of that. There will be no smokestacks. So I'm going to bulldoze those as I see them. So lastly, in this area, I want to lift a name from the community. So Nsutto33 had suggested the Gap as a district name, and I think that that is perfectly on the nose. The gap between two massive corridors for transit and travel. So I think that this is a good name for this area. Thank you for the suggestion. If anybody else has any other ideas, like for this area here, be sure to let me know down in the comments. So I am ready to move on to the development of this area. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take this custom asset church, and I'm going to find it a home. Okay, I think this is a good location for it. We're going to turn this awkwardly shaped block into a park anyways. This is a beautiful asset by Prepo, just absolutely gorgeous. If we zoom in and look at some of the detailing, it's so intricate, looks really nice, and churches are something that I feel has been a little bit lacking in this North American build. Now I'm going to add some parking lots. And one other thing that I'm going to add in this area is I'm going to add a playground back here. Wow, that is just a perfect fit. It's almost like I planned it that way. Okay, so yeah, I think this is actually a really good fit. This could be like a Catholic school behind it, so a religious school behind it. And then we also have a playground for the kids to play at, plenty of parking. I think this is a nice centerpiece for the area. I'm going to turn this block into a park. It's really weirdly shaped, and I think that it will give some good framing for the church. So I think that that will turn this area into something really, really special. Okay, I think I'm about ready to start actually developing up this area. So I'm going to develop this area with a bunch of these UK low density assets. I think that they're a pretty good fit for really any North American build, and especially in an area with this much grid, I think that they'll look really nice around here. I'm also going to try to include some low rent housing assets and some medium density housing assets, especially up along this highway here. I'd like to select also from the UK assets, but if I remember correctly, there may not be any of those assets in that pack. So I'll pick out some of the best assets and we'll go from there. Since I paid a little bit of extra attention to this area while developing it, I want to pay a little attention and talk about it. I added some extra stain decals and graffiti decals on these buildings. That's honestly a gripe I have with the game. I think a gripe a lot of people have is I wish more of the buildings would get a little bit grimy as time went on. I also ended up adding one more service. I added this Netherlands crematorium right here. I think it's a good fit with the church right here, so I just think it made a lot of sense. So I'm going to finish developing up this area. I'm going to begin with this area over here. I'm going to build a walk-through path through it. I think that makes a lot of sense along the waterfront. Like I mentioned before, I'm also going to build a park here right in front of the church. Again, I think it makes a lot of sense from a framing perspective. And then I'm not entirely sure what I want to do over here. I'd love to do some more light industry, but we already have some noise pollution issues here, but I'll figure it out as I go. Now that we're done with this development, I am ready to start placing down our ferry terminals and ferry stops. So we have our depot right here. I'm going to have the ferries go at least to this location here. I'll have them stop here in South Marion. I'll have them stop over here near Vermont Station. And then I'll have them stop out here in this industrial area. I'll have them stop out in Piscus Bay. And I'll have them stop in Roosevelt. I may end up adding some more stops, but that's the bare minimum. One of the major parts of this redevelopment is going to be the replacement of this bridge here. It's a static one and we need one that can raise. I'm also going to lift up this roundabout here. I think that we need to be able to run our paths underneath it instead of over top of it. This is going to be a huge project, but I want to make sure that this intersection is built for the long term. Editor Baldy here. I was watching this through and I have no idea what was going on in my head. It took me forever to figure out this is how I was going to do it, and I did not say a single word. So one of the things that I end up doing here is I'm going to remove all the unsafe turns, and then I'm going to add an extra lane where I can. Another Editor Baldy PSA here. This was a disaster, an absolute disaster. I ended up figuring it out eventually, but it took a long time. Okay, our ferries are deploying. I changed the colors so they look nice and pretty now. So I'll walk you through the routes. First, we start at this ferry terminal. We come over to that stop, come up towards Vermont Station, and then back. Then the second route starts at the ferry terminal again, comes out to this industrial development, and then stops at Piscus Bay and stops in Roosevelt as well. As I've thought about it more, I realize we should really have a stop in the switch on industrial area. Okay, now we have a stop in the industrial area, so that should help to prevent some of the traffic buildup around this area. Okay, so now I'm going to go into our menu, and I'm going to make sure that we don't have any fees on any of our ferries. I want them to be free. Okay, hopefully that helps to relieve some of the traffic around this intersection, because this is... What is going on here? Why are we U-turning? What? After going through and looking at all of our ferry routes, I decided that I want to add one more stop here so that we can turn a couple of them into a loop just to make the entire system a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to add on the inside of Marion, I think South Marion, I want to make sure that we have another transit stop right here. Okay, now everything is set up in loops, so that should make everything just a little bit more efficient. There's really only one area here that needs detailing, and that is this area around this main station in Old Town, so I'm going to go ahead and add some extra foliage just to make it a little prettier. Okay, that didn't take too long, and I think it really enhanced this area, made it feel more special. I'm really pleased with the way that this build generally has turned out in this area. Obviously, part of why I had to redevelop the intersection was because of this, so hopefully this will help solve some of our traffic problems. So I am ready to move on to the next. You know what? Let me turn off the rain first, but all right, I'm ready to move on to the next build. I want to develop on this mountain right here a state park. I want to have some walking paths. You can see the views from up here are absolutely awesome, and I don't want to privatize those. I want them to be public. So yeah, I'm going to start by laying out some gravel paths through the area, and I'm going to try and weave them from over here near Old Town up to Cascade Heights and bring them down into the shopping center and public services area as well. Okay, I like the way that these paths turned out. I think that they fit nicely into the area. They add a lot of pedestrian connectivity between Old Town and some of the suburban developments. And I think that this is just, yeah, I think it's a really nice park. I think it's a good fit for the area. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. Just so much more connectivity than we had before. So now I'm going to go ahead and spray some trees back down onto this hill. I don't really know why I removed them in the first place. Not sure what was going on in my head, but if we go and look at this from an angle here, I mean, it just looks so bland and boring. Definitely needs some trees on it to make it pop a little more. Okay, I am really pleased with the way that that turned out. I think that it looks really nice. If we get down to ground level here, you're going to notice we have some really incredible views of both Marion and Old Town. Just a really gorgeous park. It's a little bit basic right now, but in the future, as we develop up the area around it, as we increase density, we can always add more amenities near the edges of the park to make everything blend a little bit better. Okay, I think I'm about ready to call this one an episode. This development took a while, but I'm really pleased with the way that it turned out. I think it makes especially the Marion Peninsula just a lot more complete. It just looks really nice. I think that this definitely helped solve some of our city problems too, with a lot of our services now upgraded on this side of the city. If you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment letting me know what you want to see next. Any kind of interaction with the video, I really appreciate. If you want to see all of my videos in the future, also consider hitting the notification bell so you make sure that you get notified when the next one comes out. I also want to remind everybody that I do have merch now. If you want to support the channel, want to support me, no pressure. Please don't feel like you need to go and purchase something, but I do appreciate it if you do. Thank you again for watching this video all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.